What an astounding revolution. Bitcoin is immune from attack.
Welcome to the Crypto Show's Digital Cash Evolution here on the Bloomberg Network. And we are at the North American Bitcoin Conference in Miami. For our home station now, 8:80 a.m., The Biz here in Miami. So luckily we were able to do that live broadcast yesterday. But one of the things that's kind of near and dear to us is getting things kind of off the ground with Venezuela, Latin America in general, really, with cryptocurrency. And we met up with a couple of guys here who are not speakers or presenters or any of that, but people that we find even more interesting than those people.
Yeah.
And that's people with something to say about something we care about, you know?
Yeah, that's a good call, Danny. You know, I think one of the reasons that Venezuela has been so important in the cryptocurrency industry is because it is one example among many in the world that is destroying its own currency. The government of Venezuela is literally inflating its own currency and destroying the value of its own currency to the degree where people are looking for options, and those options are being restricted. And those come in the forms of capital controls of many different forms. So today we have Chuck Bair, who is a partner with Lapine, and Roberto Hung, who is a lawyer and professor of law.
Yes.
You live in Venezuela.
I live in Venezuela, yes.
And Chuck's wife is Venezuelan.
Correct.
And so they're both very connected with the Venezuelan community.
Chuck. Which Chuck? We got two Chucks here?
We have two Chucks today. Yes, there's Chuck Williams and Chuck Bair.
Chuck
So now, and Chuck, you live in Florida currently,
Correct.
right? But also probably very much connected with the Venezuelan community here.
Yeah.
Such as it is.
Definitely.
And so why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself, Chuck? What brought you to the conference, the Miami Bitcoin Conference? And
Well, today I'm here. This is my first time at one of these conferences officially representing Lapine Group, but I've been interested in this space for years. So what I do, my practice area there is customer-facing technology, a lot of it for financial services firms. So, the part of a credit card's experience that a customer touches, the apps, the website. So, I'm seeing that as a opportunity in this space. We're going to need that. But the real passion for it, I guess, goes back to about 2014. I discovered Bitcoin, understood what it was, and immediately I'm like, okay, Venezuela needs this. But one of the limitations is Venezuela needs it, but they need to do it very carefully.
And
right?
could you articulate what you think it was about Bitcoin that said that called to you that said, oh, Venezuela needs this? Like, what was it? What was the property?
The inflation rate in Venezuela is talked about a lot. But what you got to understand is, like, Venezuela, even back then, was at a point that they barely had a currency. I mean, the bolivar is basically non-functional. They were weighing money.
Yeah. Right?
And now, really, I would say there's not a really functional currency there. So, they need currency, and they need it. They have the worst money management in the current world, probably. I mean, so.
Oh, yeah. So can we bring Roberto into make sure you stay close to the mic there. Yeah, we didn't hear you.
What
was your comment there?
No, the comment was that the worst economy of the century. I mean, the 21st century, Venezuela has lost 5 plus 3 zeros of the currency. It's something crazy.
Oh, wow.
But it's comical.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is. Only, well, I don't know if only superated by the Zimbabwe hyperinflation, but it is
in terms of
impossible.
its severity.
Yes,
you would
it
say.
is.
So let's bring you into the conversation, Roberto. You're a lawyer. You're a professor of law. You live in Venezuela. What brings you to the conference today?
Well, I'm here visiting the city of Florida, the Miami, and this is interesting because from the perspective of law, and not commercial law, but constitutional law, we see cryptocurrencies as a mean to protect your value, your property, and the freedom of movement of persons and goods. So it's that the approach that I have to bring here and to take notes of all the people that had these presentations.
So you're looking for opportunities to bring liberty in the crypto space.
Yes, and use the idea of crypto for the means of liberty.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. I had it backwards.
Yes, well, more or less.
Yes. Well, that's exciting because I happen to be a big fan of freedom. And I think that cryptocurrency when I read the Bitcoin white paper, and I share this a lot, but when I read the Bitcoin white paper, I said to myself, this is humanity's exit strategy from the system of control that money and government has become. If we can take them, and then I'm not talking about destroying government. I think we still need ways to organize ourselves, and we still need rules that we agree by as a society, but we don't need to give them all the power to enforce those rules.
Well, I have this special class that I give. It is about agents of power. The agents of power are first religion, then the states, then big corporations. What is civil society? So Bitcoin is part and it's a product of civil society. No one put us, a gun in the head. No, it's not a project of a big company. So civil society and global civil society develops these ideas of freedom. I mean, free exchange of goods. That's the idea.
Yeah. Do you want to comment on that, Chuck?
Yeah, I mean, I think, what I find interesting, if I get a bit dispassionate about it, is, Venezuela maybe represents the best and the worst things that are going on right now. Starting with the worst, I mean, it's the first state-sponsored crypto scam. I mean, the Petro is
referring
just...
to the Petro, yes.
I don't think it exists, and it's being forced on people, and it just, couldn't be worse. And at the same time,
it actually does not exist. There's a wallet that's a landing page, and you can go there, but it doesn't actually function. It doesn't exist, but it has a currency.
It doesn't exist. It has a currency.
Right.
But exists has a mean of the tyranny.
Right.
So, I mean, and I don't know if this story. I don't know if it's well known, but they're now taking people's pension money. They're almost nothing of bolivars and giving them petros instead. So nothing.
Oh my goodness!
Right, so which is like a promissory note of a blockchain token that doesn't actually exist yet.
Let me promise you something worse than the worst currency in the world.
Right. Oh, you thought you had nothing? How about I give you more and the absolute opposite of nothing?
And
I think what the bright side of the Petro is the best advertising campaign that crypto could ever have for Venezuela, because they just notified the entire country. Hello.
Cryptocurrency
Here's crypto.
Yes.
It's here. And so from there, at least now, when somebody talks to them about cryptocurrency, they've heard the word, and it's a little bit easier to kind of open that conversation. Do you not agree with that? Or?
Oh, yeah. No, and I think that's the upside is, I mean, Venezuela maybe can become the first country in the world to move to a real decentralized cryptocurrency economy. Because really, like I said, I would argue they don't have a functioning currency now. Their fiat is dead.
So I think we would all love to see cryptocurrency just creep in then and take over there. Yeah. What other currencies are actually being used right now? Because last night we had an Uber driver. He only spoke Spanish, and what he told us is that when he sent money home, he would send it to Colombia, get Colombian pesos, and then his family would bring the pesos in, and that Colombian pesos are actually being used there. Is it Colombian pesos and dollars? Are more attractive than bolivars, or
no? Well, in Venezuela, you have like different realities. If you move forward, like the frontier or the borderline with Colombia, a lot of pesos can move there. But the U.S. dollar is the most used. All right.
Really?
The most yes.
The most used.
The most used.
Most people are carrying around dollars and exchanging those.
What happens is it was forbidden to have dollars because you have exchange control. Even having possession in dollars, it was a criminal offense.
Crime. Oh, my goodness.
No, it is crazy. That's one of the reasons that the price of dollar raise up and the dollar and the bolivar goes down.
Oh, wow.
So you don't have
a corollary there with the drug war.
Right.
Yes,
that is a terrible thing. But can you blame them after the sanctions that are being put on them by the U.S.? Why wouldn't they?
No, but that's not new. I mean, it was from 2007, the control.
Okay.
So at this moment, the sanctions were a few months ago. I mean, not more than 10 months, I think.
I mean, it's a whole tit for tat thing that Venezuelan government is doing with the U.S. When I tried to go get a visa to go visit Venezuela, oh no, it's like, okay, we want you to produce the title for your home. We want to see 3 months of bank statements. We want to know that you have enough money in your bank to travel here. We need a letter from a person there. And all these things, they wanted my social security. I'm like, I'm not giving you all this information so that you can hack my bank. No way. So I'm like, no, I'm not going to Venezuela. I got to do that. But the point is that's what the U.S. makes the Venezuelans do to come here, right?
Yes.
So that's what I'm saying. Tit for tat. That and that's these policies are kind of out of that.
To go back to your question, though, preferred currency, and I mean, I think you'll agree with this, is anything but the bolivar, right?
Yes.
I mean, literally toilet paper. You would rather have toilet paper than.
Well, that happened
Yeah.
after the World War with Germany. It was better to have packets of cigarettes than having the Reichsmarks.
Right. Because they could still be used for trade.
Yes.
A lot of people would take a cigarette for.
No.
I use that example when I talk about cryptocurrencies because it's more or less the same. You have some asset that has some value, but what if you lose it? What if you smoke your cigarette?
Yeah.
The same happens. It will be compared to losing your private key.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, that's true.
At least you get a cigarette out of it instead of
Well,
sitting
if
on
they get-
bolivars for a year. And
What if they
just
get wet? Well, the bolivar doesn't
add
worth at all.
lop a couple zeros off of it? Yeah.
So
Wow.
what's the reality of crypto being used in Venezuela? We hear all these shiny, bright stories about cryptos stepping in to save the day. Is this a reality or is this hype?
No, it is a reality. Without having any formal official currency that materially works, so people try to have their property into something that gets the value. And cryptocurrency works a lot. That's when Dash came to Venezuela with a lot of, entering the market. So you have some restaurants, you have some beer places where you can have beer, even haven't paid services with Dash.
And you think this is happening?
So you personally have used Dash in Venezuela?
Yes, I do have my wallet, and I go only to places that you can use.
There was a video that was floating around on RT that said that they were going to stores and there was a sticker there, but they couldn't actually do it. Is that a reality? I mean, what's the real thing about it? I mean, is it easy to actually use it at these merchants, or is it only easy at some merchants and some it's just a sticker?
Also, you have different realities, because if you have a sticker that says Bitcoin received here or a Dash received here, a lot of people may think that you are dealing with currency, foreign currency. So the police can go and you're in a criminal offense. So you can go places where the people can accept them.
Okay.
At this moment, you have more and more open view, and you can receive some Dash or you can receive Bitcoin. Or
do you think that's because they're learning that it's not like a foreign currency, it's just a global currency? So there's some awareness that's being raised?
Well, that comes with this merchant and this education of the people, saying that this can be considered as a currency, cryptocurrency, but also has a method of payment.
And
so,
Chuck,
and you stay in the method of payment because you maintain the value of your asset.
okay. And so, Chuck, I want to bring you in the conversation here. You've had some preferences around Dash in particular for Venezuela.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the appeal to me immediately because, part of it, and actually I was going to comment on the adoption. It may be a little hard to get at. I'm interested in your thoughts on this, that like what I counseled my family members on when I told them about Bitcoin, Dash, and all this, don't tell anybody you're doing this. You keep this in the family. There's no reason for anyone else to know until they need to. Because that's, you're
As a
trying to
safety
be an
matter.
agent of change, but if you're not trying to because it's, you don't want the powers that be there to know.
Right.
At all.
Yeah.
It's
So
a security matter.
my hypothesis is that whatever use of cryptocurrency is there and visible, like signs on a shop, that's bold, right? It's probably a lot more under the surface, right? That we're not going to say a word about it.
Okay, so we might be seeing like the speakeasy effect, right?
Exactly.
Like where you've got something that's
You don't want anybody to know,
but
You got to
at the
know
same time,
there's
everybody wants
secret
it.
handshake.
right?
So you think there may be like networks of people who know, like, oh, I'll take Dash, or that person
But
will
at
take
the
Dash.
same time, it has a different effect. You have some communities that they conform each other. Like you can have this guy because you have shortage of food. So you have this guy that has this meat store. So all the people that has the meat store, they buy it with cryptocurrency.
And you think that's really happening?
It is
But
really
it's happening in
That's-
secret under
That's the fill in the blank. Because if you really understand what's going on with the money there, I mean, like if you needed to buy a car, you couldn't carry the money that you needed to buy the car in a car or in a truck. I mean, so yeah, something has to be happening here. That's
And the same with
Not on the
with
surface.
I have a credit card in Venezuela. You know what's the limit of the credit card in dollars? $3, $4.
You
Right.
can't spend more than $3.
You can't spend
Yeah,
more than $3.
Ohenia,
That's
Ohenia
the
said,
Khadivi card?
Ohenia said with her cards, when she goes to the grocery store, she'll sometimes the grocery store is not taking crypto yet. So when she goes there, she goes with the cards, and she needs 5 cards
Yes.
to make the transaction for one purchase of groceries, right? And so she'll run through the limit of one card, and then the limit of another card, and then finally she's got maybe a week's worth of groceries. And this took 45 minutes to transact.
Oh my goodness.
And you're not buying the groceries for the entire week. You're going
few
for the day.
days, yeah.
Yeah.
For the
I'll tell you,
day.
yeah.
For
Yeah.
the day.
So this is a Bolivar story, but actually, so one of my wife's cousins is a lawyer, young, new career. So she's there, she's getting, paid in Bolivar. So she was visiting us, and it was payday. She's texting with, what is the term for it? It's our runner, right?
Mm-hmm.
That this person's going to go pick up her paycheck and go immediately to the store and buy all this stuff.
Yes.
And wait 2 hours in line on her behalf, to take some cut of it. And because you want to get that check and turn it into stuff
As quickly as possible.
instantly. Like tomorrow it'll
Oh
be
my
worth less
goodness.
money.
You
Yeah.
see the
So
price-
she's on vacation, telling you, okay, see if you can get toilet paper. You can't get toilet paper like this. If they have chicken,
Wow. So
you dispose of that money as fast as you can.
yeah, I think that's called Greshams Law, right? The bad or the good money chases out the bad, right?
Yeah.
So you want to get that bad money out of your pocket. I've actually felt a little bit of that because if I've given the option to pay Bitcoin or Dash or dollars, if I have dollars, I'm going to spend those first. I want to get rid of those. I want to hold on to my Bitcoin
Yes.
and Dash.
But still, though, the dollar remains and sometimes the value.
Yeah.
But the Bolivares doesn't worth nothing at all.
Right. Yeah.
It's
it's
the
so
worst
much
case
more
scenario of fiat currency management.
Mhm.
Like,
Yes.
here's how you do everything wrong,
Yeah.
is the Bolivar.
So that's the lesson that we're getting out of this, right? As a nation, as a globe, you guys are seeing on the ground all of these various effects. I'm hearing some evidence here that you guys are actually seeing with your own anecdotal evidence that there are people who are preferring to use cryptocurrency.
You're well.
Anything.
Once you know what,
But yes.
anything. I mean,
But
you can use.
cryptocurrency is pretty high on the chart, I think.
Yes.
Well,
because of
once
the-
you know cryptocurrency,
Yeah.
you use it. But if you have some money, you prefer to buy toilet paper. You prefer to buy soap,
Okay.
deodorant,
Okay.
because tomorrow you can't buy it.
So if you don't know cryptocurrency and you're in Venezuela, you're just getting it out of your hands as fast as possible.
And that's,
Yep.
I think, it was the idea of the Petro too, because the government probably thinks that the value of the Bolivar is so low that you have to find out something.
Oh, and you thought that they were going to be fooled.
Yes, but at the
people-
same time, they use it to control instead
Sure.
of the main idea of the cryptocurrency.
Right.
Give power to the people to administrate their own wealth.
So you don't hear about anybody using the Petro?
Doesn't exist.
There's no Petro.
There's no Petro.
There's no Petro.
It just
No.
doesn't
It
exist.
just doesn't
No,
exist
there's
at all.
no-
Doesn't
so-
exist. Technically,
There's a
what you have.
contract
You-
on
if
the-
you,
yeah.
you go to the Petro and you sign up for a wallet. The wallet does not function, and as information on the site is a copy and paste of the Dash white paper with some wording has been changed.
Oh my goodness.
And
yes.
where they screwed up, one of the things they screwed up on was they actually left the word Tufts in there.
they haven't screwed it
Yeah.
3 times because
Yeah.
the first
Yeah,
moment,
it was what was it? Ethereum first,
Well, they
and
launched-
then,
yeah,
first
they-
moment,
and
and at the last
and then
minute, it's
NEM.
Oh,
so,
yes.
and then they wanted to have it in a blockchain,
Yeah.
so they copy and paste the code of
Other,
Petro.
yeah, they copy
Yeah.
and paste other white papers.
Wow.
But-
So
here's the
copy
thing,
and
that-
paste.
Yeah.
That it says
Yeah.
Dash in one of the things.
The white paper was a train wreck, but my favorite piece of it was this formula. Like, here's how we're going to set the value of the Petro. And it had, a barrel of oil and the Bolivar, but it had one term in the equation, which was a factor set by the Venezuelan government.
Oh, yeah.
And so if you have one factor like that,
Yeah.
we can just reduce it down to this.
Yeah.
The Venezuelan government sets the value of the Petro.
Yeah.
That's it.
And also,
And it's not on there's no blockchain. There's no,
Yeah, they weren't willing to let go of that control.
a lot of people may say, well, it works right now because it's a code, it's open source. But you have to see it in the multi-dimensional. One dimension, economically, it doesn't work at all. The other one, legally, it doesn't work legally. And technically, it doesn't work either. Because you
Oh.
can have it technically working perfectly, but if you don't use it, it doesn't
Failure on
work.
top
Yeah.
of failure on top of failure.
And we have 20 years of failure on top of failure. And
Oh,
20
my
years.
goodness,
just
yeah.
you got to imagine
No.
like the worst mob.
How
Just running a
about
country.
the kind of the statistics on Bitcoin versus Dash and the other coins? I hear that local Bitcoins is the biggest supplier. That's where the most liquidity is with local Bitcoins. And how do you guys see, or how do you see that? You've been from Venezuela. You know, what's the truth on this?
Local Bitcoin is the platform used regularly for exchanging the few bolivars or the large amounts of bolivars that doesn't worth at all for cryptocurrency. So
as far as cryptocurrency, the actual largest liquidity in Venezuela is going to be Bitcoin. Yeah. So what does Dash need to do to raise the liquidity of Dash so that people can actually use it there? How do we get that into the hands of people who need it? And we have a plan that we're hoping. So give us some insight.
I'd love to hear your idea.
Well, the idea was to directly, like a local Bitcoin, like directly to exchange your bolivars. Let's imagine that we receive a check, we put it in your bank, and you can exchange it directly into Dash.
Right.
That will be a good idea. But one of the exchanges was taken by the government, and they cut it out. They cut the IP address and everything.
So we will see. We'll yet to see this, but El Dorado is an exchange that's fixing to open up in Venezuela. Guillermo Goncalves is working on this. He's got all the licensing and everything. He's written the code, and he's about to launch it. And it's going to be very similar to local Bitcoins, but for all coins. So there'll be multiple coins there. So he hopes to raise the liquidity of other coins, and this would help with Dash.
Yes, would help.
So how do you reach Venezuelans? I mean, do we need to be reaching out to people in Venezuela, or should we start in the U.S.? Because that's where, if a Venezuelan is in the U.S., they could just send cryptocurrency home rather than using Western Union or whatever, because at least they know it's going to arrive and not maybe it will, maybe it won't.
Well, you mentioned it, two situations. One, El Dorado or whatever exchange exists. You need a permit or you need a license. And this license, let's say, I don't want to get into the deep part of it, but you need to go through a very specific bureaucratic payments and stuff. The other way it will be good to have, because Venezuela has been massive migration. So a good way to deliver money into the Venezuelan market, it will be all dashes.
Okay.
It will be by the community of Venezuelans outside the Venezuela. So it's not only a work that has to be done in Venezuela, promoting the use, but also promoting the Venezuelans outside to send to their families.
So our plan is we have an affiliate here in Miami, the 880 The Biz, and they have 2 Spanish stations. So we want to start running commercials on the Spanish stations, letting people know where to go to get resources to find out, send them to a Spanish resource where they can find out how they can get a hold of cryptocurrency and how to send it home.
Cryptocurrency 101.
What do you think? Do you think that's a good plan or no?
It is an excellent plan. And not only for Venezuela situation, because Venezuela, we have this particular situation. But let's remember that Miami is the capital of Latin America. So the situation here, you have people from Venezuela, from Brazil, from Nicaragua, from Mexico, from Colombia, Argentina, Chile. So
we have our friend Rod. You I don't know if you guys met the Brazilian guy that was running around here.
Yes. He's been there in Venezuela. He was one of the speakers of Dash conferences.
Yes, actually, and so he has Dash Brazil. So we'll get him to do it in Portuguese. For a resource for Brazil. We have Eugenia to give us resources for Venezuela. I'm probably going to reach out to Edward or maybe George in Colombia to get some resources there. So we want to just reach out to as many of these as possible and kind of create a central point where we can send people either on our website or another. And for each country, I would hope to have a flag icon. So you see the Venezuelan flag, you see the Colombian flag. Obviously, you're going to click on that. This is where I go for Venezuelan information. This is where I go for Colombian information, and so on and so forth.
And also, the community of Venezuelans here in South Florida, it's so big that we even have some special restaurants from Venezuela.
Oh, yeah.
We also have
your neighborhoods, like Little Havana and all that.
Well, like the Little Havana, too. Yeah. Also, we can use like...
Doral is, they call it actually. So this is where our radio station is actually... Doralzuela,
It's West Venezuela, right? That's where.
Well, West Venezuela, Doralzuela, in Orlando, a large community of Venezuelans there.
You know, the one thing I was going to say about it's like selling point. What drew me to the Dash project in the first place was, you know, thinking about how do I tell, you know, my wife's family about doing Bitcoin. And if you want to be secret, it's VPNs and it's, you know, tumblers and single-use addresses. And the fact that Dash has this ability to do a lot of that, you know, and take that burden off is a big win.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up, because yeah, you did mention that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not only just the security of, you know, hey, don't tell everybody that you're using cryptocurrency, but there's also that security of, like, there could be people watching you use the cryptocurrency and they don't want them tracking you down or doing whatever, hacking your stuff.
I think, yeah, you have to be very careful there. Of, you know, I mean, you've decided to kind of make a statement and, you know, take that chance, but I mean, literally, this can be life and death stuff. I mean, really, if they know, if they know you're getting money, I mean, and you talked about Western Union. If you're a prominent opposition person and you get a transfer, they know.
In both of your opinions, how many people do you think, how many Venezuelans here in the U.S. have opened bank accounts, or are they still, the majority of them still unbanked, or do you think
bank
that
accounts in the U.S. or in Venezuela?
Like, so
No,
they migrate. So no, if they migrated to the U.S., do you think they have a bank account here? Would they be able to download the Dash app and then create an Uphold account and buy directly with their Uphold account for 1.25%?
I guess a lot of people, it's with their banking accounts.
Yeah.
Because different than people that goes probably to Colombia or to Brazil.
But, I mean, do you think it's a large percentage of people that that are banked who have come here? Okay.
Well, if you're, I mean, if you're driving for Lyft, I think you have to have some kind of a bank account.
And you need some permits. I mean, you need some formalities to have it. And I guess
I'm just kind of, you know, examining what are my hurdles that I need to get over if I want to try to get this going.
And stepping back for, I think to me the big hurdle, and I'm still kind of running this through in my head, is so you want to get cryptocurrency into Venezuela. What are you going to get in exchange, right? There needs to be a transfer of value, and nobody wants the bolivar. I mean, it's not, you can't do anything with it. Like, if I'm helping from here, I don't want
from here
cases of bolivars. So
all we care about is that they're able to utilize Dash as a rail to get money to their family in Venezuela. And now the teams that are in Venezuela promoting Dash can help them to find somewhere to spend it. They can go to Church's Chicken or any of these other places and use it, or sell it and get dollars or whatever it is that they need to get the things they need. We need liquidity. We have 2,500 merchants in Venezuela,
right?
But we don't have enough people to
using
it to incentivize more.
Venezuela is a country that depends on trade. I mean, trade is essential. And it's not happening. It's extremely restricted, which is why it's crashing, right? And so somehow trade has to start happening. You know, valuable stuff moving out of the country in exchange for cryptocurrency, because we don't want the money, right? So it needs to be stuff.
I even found a way. I even found a way to buy in Amazon using cryptos.
With Paxful,
with the
Paxful.
Don't remember exactly. You just take the item you want to buy, and I deposit my cryptos.
Oh, okay. You're talking about Purse.io.
That one. I think that one. Yes.
Yeah. And you can save up to 20-30%. That's a really that's another way to incentivize people to use cryptocurrency, because you can save 20, 30, 40% even, if not more. Just it works like a bid. So I want to buy a laptop on Purse.io through Amazon. I put my wish list on there, and then I put a bid up and say, you know what, I'm a cheap sumbitch, so I want to get 40% off. Well, you're not going to get it the first day. Maybe you got to wait a week, but sooner or later somebody will step up and say, all right, well, I'll take that bid, and I will give you my credit to Amazon in exchange for your Bitcoins or whatever.
Right. Well, I want to thank you guys for coming on today. I think it's been a very interesting discussion. It's heartwarming to me as a Dash supporter to hear that there does seem to be some legs to the Dash effort in Venezuela. I'd like to continue the conversation. Maybe we can have you guys on again in the future if we can arrange something like that. I think I would love to just get the pulse on what's going on so that we can get some input.
I'll stay here a couple days more. Chuck,
we do it over some empanadas.
Okay.
Very nice. All right. Well,
Chuck Bair. The Venezuelan ones are the best.
Chuck Bair, Roberto.
I heard they were Chilean. The Chileans were, but in my opinion,
you heard that from a Chilean.
Yeah, no, they're really bland. Yeah.
Or las arepas. Have you heard that? Have you eaten arepa here?
Not yet, no.
Oh, we should go to eat some arepas here. They have good arepas.
I fly out tomorrow,
Actually-
and I think I have dinner plans tonight. But
I have
Next time.
I have a
Yeah.
protest token called the arepa coin. I need to send you some.
Oh, there are a couple.
Yeah.
There are a couple coins
You
here.
guys definitely-
Venezuelan coins.
I
Leave
issued
us your-
that.
how can people contact you guys if they wanted to ask you some more questions
yeah.
and find out?
Did I give
So
you
I'm-
my?
well, for our audience.
Yeah,
For the audience.
CBAIR3 on Twitter for me.
Okay.
And I can be contacted through Instagram, RHUNGC. That is Roberto, HUNG, my last name, and C.
And
Perfect.
one more kind of, I think is an important question. What do you think are the best platforms in different areas of Latin America for social media? Like, so Facebook is very popular in Mexico. What's the most popular social media platform for Venezuela or Colombia?
Well, I'm not young, but I think
I mean,
it's by
because
ages.
they're using it as a communication
Yes.
communication network. Social media seems to be for
Yeah.
Latin America the new communication network. Yeah, WhatsApp or whatever.
I was going to say, I mean,
WhatsApp.
at least for my wife's family, my WhatsApp, I have to silence it. It goes.
Right.
That's
Yeah, but you have
That's,
a close group.
Right,
So you
right.
have the group of
Exactly.
your family, you have the group of the university, you have the group of the people you work. But like open, social,
hers, yeah. For
Yeah,
my wife's
open
family,
social.
it's WhatsApp. Is
WhatsApp.
as far as I know, that's pretty much.
But
it.
the
That's
young
how they-
people, the younger people use Instagram,
Mm.
Yeah.
and we are a little bit older. We use Facebook.
Okay.
Okay, good information.
Yeah. Well, thanks, guys. Appreciate you having.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.